Hey everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video, we'll be going through an unboxing of the high grade 12144 Gundam L.O.Booster. And this particular Gundam is from the high grade After Colony line, which is basically code for Gundam Wing, more specifically from the G Unit side stories. And this kit was released back in 2022. So, starting to get the P-Bandai releases of all the G units down. So the L.O.Booster is the most recent one I've had come down, and I think there's a few more still due out in the future. Anyway, here we have the front of the box, and despite being a P-Bandai, doesn't look it. This is very much a full color box, as we will see very shortly. So, the Gundam L.O.Booster, which I believe is just the Gundam Geminis with a completely different backpack armament. It will have a mobile armor type mode as well, which is very nice. So as we'll see in a little bit, there is a bit of plastic involved with this kit. But I will say that artwork, very nice. In terms of the bottom of the box, so what do we have here? We have a front and rear shot of the L.O.Booster. And looking at it, whilst it does look a lot like the Geminis, I think there is some slight differences. And then we do have an image of the what is called the high-speed flight mode. Very nice. So we'll have a bit of a transformation type gimmick, which I'm pretty sure is just everything folding over. We do have some nice action shots of the mobile suit, using its various weaponry as well as its primary weapons, which will also have some nice beam effects as well. So very, very nice. Just mentioned there are some gimmicks. What do we have here? The 3 axes in the chest, hips and groin allow for dynamic posing. So that's always good to hear. And we do have a list of the weapons. So we have beam swords, the lightweight accelerate SMG, and a reactive shield, amongst other things. Other side of the box, and then on the top of the box, front shot of the L.O.Booster, its flight mode, and some long stretch of text, which I will not go through. That is very cool that that's included. In terms of what is inside, lots of plastic. You can hear it. So. I'm not even going to try and count how many bags, but regardless, time to open up the bags and have a better look at everything that is included. And with everything out of the bag. So there was actually about 6 bags of runners and a good amount of runners. So front of the manual for the L.O.Booster. So we do have some general stats about the machine. Front view of the suit in a nice stationary pose. High speed flight mode. And more blurbage. Although just looking at the very first line, it does reaffirm what I believed it was. This is a high mobility configuration of the Geminis 01, equipped with the L.O.Booster. So, very nice. Hence why that does look like the Gundam Geminis. So, front of the manual, back of the manual, bit more information that we have seen before, but we do have the marking guide as well as the color guide. So we'll have red, purple, which I feel is like a wine color of some sort, white, yellow, blue, grey, and green for sensors. Very nice. Let's see if I can try and figure out how this manual works. Parts list, which we'll go through in a bit. There's a fair bit to cover. In terms of the build, now I suspect the first few steps are probably a copy and paste of the Geminis. Now, given I haven't done a Geminis yet, I can also not confirm if that's the case, but I'm going to assume yes. And then from step 11 onwards, it will go through the backpack, which is fine. So it does look like we'll have a good degree of color separation. And when I say that, I suddenly see this huge 19 and 20 sticker. that's okay. Going through the flight unit components and then going through the additional weapons and then how to transform it into the flight mode, which seems to be a very interesting look. Definitely a lot bundled into this kit, so that is the manual. We do have the foil stickers. It's definitely not too bad, but we do know some of those stickers now will be to do some color correcting on some fins and things like that. And then we also have the marking stickers, which I will probably not use, but nice that they're included. Now before I get too carried away, I did leave these in the plastic, but we do have some plastic beam effects. Looks like there's 2 in there, but I have kept them in the plastic just so that they don't go missing. It's very nice that we have some of those effects included. Now, the runners. I'll try and do this as quickly as I can because there's a lot of 1s and 2s. So we do have a A1, A2 multicolor runners, in fact, in blue and red. Where's the camera? Here we go. A2 is just a copy of the top part of A1. Otherwise, nice blue, nice red, and I do suspect this is straight from the Gems. On to the Bs, in grey, B1 and B2. So B2 is a copy of the bottom left of B1. Now I'm pretty sure this is definitely from the Geminis, so this will be a lot of your joints, manipulators, and things like that. So that's in a nice grey. We have C1 and C2, it's becoming a bit of a theme. Now C2 is a copy of the top half of C1, and then the rest of C1 will be distinct parts, a bit of the chest, head, waist, things like that. And both C1 and C2 are in white. Going into multicolor G runners, G1 and G2. So G2 will be a decent copy of the bottom part of G1. So naturally your lefts and your rights. With all of G1 here, so being a multicolor runner, a lot of this will be grey. We will have the red here, a bit of yellow, and that wine type colour, I dare say. Detailing on that is very nice. Just looking at that component right there. If it zooms in, possibly. There we go. So that's G1 and G2. We have H1 and H2, as I said. It's becoming a bit of a weird thing. H2 is pretty much a copy of majority of the middle section of H1. Be interesting to see how many of this is duplications, because this is elements of the head. And also, given that we have some leg bits here and there, I do wonder if the Geminis does have some replacement parts. Time will tell. So that's H1, H2, both in white. The last large runner of note is the eye runner in that burgundy wine colour. So that's very nice that we get that. We get 2 sets of polycaps. We have PC123 and PC002, both in grey. And to wrap things all off, we have SB13 round tips in translucent pink. So that's your standard beam saber effects. So that brings us to the end of the unboxing of the high grade 1 to 144 Gundam L.O.Booster. So basically it's the Gundam Geminis with a high mobility flight pack attached to it, which is very nice. And then suddenly makes it transform, which in itself is interesting, but that's okay. So clearly it's probably some type of upgrade to the Geminis to allow the transformation in conjunction with the new flight components. definitely a lot of plastic. Should be a very fun build. And if my weird feeling is true, there should be some variation from the original Geminus. So one of these days I do need to actually build that. I think the panel lining is partly putting me off, but that's okay. It usually does. But that's fine. There should be some more G-Unit sets to come out. Trying to remember if the Hydra's been announced. I can't remember. So there should be the Hydra, and I feel there's one more which the name eludes me. I will, for the sake of discussion, have the original G-Unit kits over at Hobbylink Japan in the description as well as a link if anyone's interested. Given it's Panda, this particular one, you will need to have a little bit of a look around for it. Thank you very much for watching this unboxing video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does support the channel and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link in the description below. And as I mentioned, there will also be a link to the original Gundam L.O.Booster and some of the other G-Unit kits over at Hobbylink Japan, per the 90s. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video. See ya.